Hello again. Welcome back. It is good to see you. Please do not speak at a normal volume. You need to remain quiet. You may speak if your voice remains low. This is not our standard examination area. This is a somewhat more isolated part of the ship. You are still in the stasis field, and you have already received the calming agent. Not much this time. You did not seem to need calming during our last encounter. I brought you here to further study you. Of course. As a subject, you interest me. I believe I still have a lot to learn from you. No, the normal laboratory is still intact. I have simply chosen not to use it. The reasons do not signify. We can conduct our work here. Why do you wish to know? Does it matter where we have our conversations? Indeed. If you insist on knowing, we are in this area of the ship because I am not currently permitted to bring humans aboard for study. Technically speaking, you should not be here. I am in something of a probationary period at the moment. I am being disciplined because of my own actions. I was careless. I had brought you here too frequently and for too long. I had spoken of you with more than scientific curiosity. My superiors were becoming concerned about my interest in humans. Specifically, my interest in you. Yes, they have reassigned me to other tasks for the moment. I do not know. I am not sure how long this probation will last. I do know that I must appear to be as detached and clinical as possible when I'm in the lab, if I ever wish to be reinstated. My professionalism has been called into question, so it follows that the way to regain my full access and privileges is to maintain the height of professional conduct. That is a good question. I am not entirely certain of the answer myself. I know that I have wanted to learn more about you. I know I wanted to see you again. I do not know what motivated me to take this step and bring you here against orders. It is not in keeping with my effort to adhere to professional standards. Quite the opposite, in fact. I suppose that is accurate. You are my secret. We are isolated so that we may talk more without being overheard. I cannot be certain what would happen to me, but I know that you would be sent back to Earth without your memory of this place, which is why I have asked you to remain quiet. Increased volume means an increased chance of being discovered. I would most likely never be permitted to conduct research again. After all, I am not following the rules. I should not be placed in a position of authority or responsibility. That is one thing I am not sure about. It is entirely out of character for me to take risks of this nature. I do not recall ever doing it before. I cannot be sure what is happening in my brain to allow this action to occur. But at the moment, I am not in a position to analyze myself or my cognitive function. I am not sure I understand. That is also a good question. I do not know if one would call this risk worth it. If I attempt to quantify what I wish to gain from this encounter, I find I cannot. I do not know what will come from this meeting, or if there will be others. I do not know whether I will be caught and removed from all research efforts. Because I wanted to. I wished to see you again. I wanted to hear your voice. I cannot explain more clearly than that. That is gratifying to know. I am glad the interest in this meeting is not entirely one-sided. You are increasingly confident in your interactions with me. Perhaps restoring your memory fully every time is a mistake. No, that is not correct. You do not have that memory at this time. But you do recall that, the end of our last encounter. Yes, my eyes do look like that. You do seem to have that information at your disposal. How is that possible? I have restored most of your memory, but I didn't restore that part. Some pieces of memory do surface during the dream state, but it is quite strange for you to remember anything quite so accurately or vividly through a dream. I suppose so. Well then, shall we begin? Whatever my motivations were for bringing you here against orders, my interest in you is still very academic. I wish to talk with you and learn as much as I can. I don't have any instruments here in this part of the ship, so I can't conduct scans or other tests. All I can do is ask you questions. What would be the purpose of that? You are not the one conducting the study. That is an interesting phrase. Fair is fair. I find I don't have a substantial argument for it. I might have at one time when I perceived you through a more clinical lens, but now, I did bring you here without your consent and place you in a stasis field. I suppose the least I can do is answer your questions. Especially since I intend to remove your memories of this experience again when I return you to your home, for your safety. Of course, I will still remove those memories. I do still have access to those tools. But because of that, I can't answer your questions. I will agree to your terms, although I will not answer anything that may compromise the safety of the ship or its crew. No, not even with the memory removal. You know how small bits of recall can still occur. I cannot risk the chance that any of those small moments of recall would contain sensitive information. Do you understand? Good. Now, shall we begin in earnest? Excellent. What do you mean? I suppose you can ask the first question, but please keep your voice as low as possible, and please keep your questions short. We do not have much time, and I wish to learn as much as possible in the time we have. What is your question? That is difficult to describe. My home planet is different from yours, but there are still similarities between the two. We have large land masses and oceans of water. We have mountains and lakes and forests of plants. As a species, we have experienced many of the growing pains that your species is currently experiencing. We overproduced and overpolluted. We fought amongst ourselves for limited resources. But those days are in our distant past. We have moved forward in our development and our evolution. I have hope that your species will one day do the same. Does that satisfy you? All right. Oh, that is the containment alarm. Somewhere in another part of the ship, a containment field was breached. We have to take safety measures at once. Humans are not the only species we bring aboard for study. Some of the others are less capable of rational communication. The protocol is to return you to Earth immediately, but unlike the other subjects, you are not sedated. You are conscious, and I cannot return you without removing your memories and sedating you. Those actions take time, but at this moment, we don't have time. Do not panic. I will ensure you are not harmed. I need to get you to a safer location. There is a shielded room not far from here that is designed as a refuge for containment breaches and other safety failures. That is the issue. I cannot move the stasis field. You know from our prior encounters that while you cannot pass through the stasis field from the inside, other things can pass through from the outside, like my hand, and whatever has breached containment. It is not safe to leave you here. We must get to the shielded room. Listen to me. I'm going to lower the stasis field entirely. I will need you to get to your feet and follow me. Do you think you can do that? You will need to trust me. At this moment, it doesn't matter what you see. It matters that we get to safety. We can address your memories later. All right, I'm lowering the field. Can you sit up? Good. Can you stand? I'm here. I'm right over here. Follow my voice. We don't have time for that. You need to come with me. Here, hang on to me. You may be a bit unsteady from the calming agent. Let's go. It's just down this hall. Keep moving. I have you. I can keep you upright as long as you keep walking. That's good. Keep it up. All right, this is it. It looks empty. Come on, inside. We should be secure in here. We'll know the threat is past when the alarm stops. Are you all right? I apologize for the additional stress and anxiety. I appreciate you cooperating with our safety protocols. Thank you for following my instructions after I removed the stasis field. I suspect not every human would be as compliant. Just a hunch, I think you call it. Are you dizzy? The calming agent should be out of your system soon. Just sit still. Continue to breathe slowly and focus on the floor. I am not the floor. Why are you looking at me? I suppose that's true. Your previous look at me was somewhat limited. This is, I assume, what you wanted to see. This is my complete appearance. No, look your fill. I don't mind. I will ensure you do not remember it later. You know that isn't possible. It's not a matter of trust. Our mission cannot be compromised. No human can remember being here. The fact that you're here now, that you're conscious, and that you can see me entirely, that will all pose a problem for me if it becomes public knowledge. I will never be permitted to work on this research team again. I may even be imprisoned on my home planet. The safety of the mission is paramount. My own curiosity about you has proven to be a liability. I don't know if it was, as you put it, worth it. I learned a great deal about you. I appreciate all of the help you've given me in that. But I have also formed a sort of attachment to you. That attachment is what brought us to the situation right now. You do. How could this be worth it to you? You aren't permitted to remember it. I suppose that's true. While you are here, you remember. Although this will likely be your last visit here. Why do you ask that? If I am punished for my behavior, it is only what I deserve. I have put more than myself at risk. I have made foolish decisions. I should answer for them if they are found out. I believe you are trying to protect me, but your efforts are in vain. Look at me. I am not human. I cannot live among your species on your planet. You also lack many of the resources I require for life. I could synthesize some, but others would be harder to find. And of course, on Earth, my own people would have no trouble tracking me. I would be recaptured almost immediately, and then punished further. It is not something that can occur, I'm afraid. As appealing as it may be to avoid punishment by fleeing to Earth, that is not an option for me. But I appreciate your offer. Yes, I do. I am grateful that you wish to help me avoid unpleasantness. Even after everything I've done to you, most without your knowledge or consent, you want to assist me. That is somewhat remarkable. I don't believe anyone has ever been as kind to me. Is that strange? Are you all right? You seem to be struggling with consciousness. Here, lean against me. Take deep breaths. All is well. The threat will be over soon. Thank you. I am glad you find me comfortable. You feel interesting. It is difficult to describe. I want to apologize for the situation we're in. I should not have become so attached to you. I should not have brought you here when I did not have permission to do so. I have put you in jeopardy, and I am sorry. What a strange thing to say. No one has ever told me I sound human. I do not know whether that is a positive attribute. In that case, thank you. I believe the danger has passed. Whatever breached the containment field has been recaptured or returned to Earth. It happens infrequently, but it does happen. The safety protocols are in place for a reason. Working with live subjects requires a great deal of preparation in the event of a problem. Of course you are one of the subjects. I have explained that to you many times. What does that mean? How could you be more than a subject? My fascination with you is with you as a subject. Entirely. Or at least, I believe so. I have never known a time when I wasn't driven by scientific curiosity. And I have also never known a time when I acted against instructions. Perhaps studying you has led to a change in me. Perhaps you are, what's the term? Rubbing off. We need to return you to the stasis field. I believe today's interview should be cut short. I don't want to risk exposure. I'll sedate you, remove your memories, and return you to Earth. I do not know if I'll be back. It depends on whether this encounter remains a secret. But if I can, I will return. It may be some time from now. I don't comprehend your meaning. How can you say you'll wait for me if you won't remember I exist? I remember that confidence from before. It's so uniquely human. Come, let's go. Down this way. That's right, keep going. Almost there. Okay, put yourself back up here, please. Here, let me help. I've got you. Good. Thank you again for complying with my instructions, and for your cooperation with me. I am sorry I did not have more time to speak to you. I would have enjoyed learning more about you. The stasis field is reactivated. Please relax while I prepare the sedative. What is that? If I return, you mean? I see. If I return, I suppose I can allow you to leave the stasis field for a short time, as long as you remain close and comply with all instructions. But please understand, there is a good chance I will not be back. I have taken too many risks. I cannot be counted on to maintain protocol. You asked me that before. I will answer as I administer the sedative. Sleep well, human. You won't remember this, but yes, meeting you was very much worth it.